Hey, AJ, we're
Hey,
live.
Joey. I know, right? This is so fantastic.
This is fantastic. This is the first of hopefully many lives that we will do together. And so we're going into this with the beginner's mentality of, produce lots of shows and webinars. And I know you've been on many stages. But this is a very interesting and unique stage to be on, is like we can't edit anything out, right? Like it's just here. We're just sharing our true, authentic selves.
That's right. No filters.
No filters. So AJ, we were on a webinar together or a panel discussion a couple weeks ago, and I was just I was so taken by your energy and your charisma and how you deliver value that I reached out and I said, hey, do you want to do a live together? Haven't done this before and figured, what the hell? Like, let's unpack events because I think you have so much wisdom to share. The thought was like, hey, if you say yes, I'll calm the anxiety and go live with you and we'll make it happen.
I can't believe you're so nervous. It's so funny because the minute that you're going to start talking about this topic, because we are such event geeks. I mean, are we allowed to say event geeks? We're event geeks. A little
Absolutely.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you forget you're even talking on camera or for everything. But shout out everybody. Hi. Hi there on LinkedIn Live.
Yeah, if you're tuning in, comment. We can see all of the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and say hi. That'd be awesome. So AJ, you have over 20 years of just so everyone's aware, in the first 3 minutes, want to make sure that everyone's aware. Like, if you're here to learn about events, if you're an event producer, an event planner, you have a conference, a summit, a mastermind, you're doing a nonprofit gala, some type of peer-to-peer fundraising. If you're doing an event in 2024, you're in the right place. If you're not doing an event in 2024, well, we're going to welcome you anyway, and maybe you'll get some entertainment value hanging out with us for the next 20 to 30 minutes.
Well, some of the people are probably working on 2025 events too. So everybody has an event in their future, whether you want it or not.
That's very true. So
Well,
AJ,
why don't you say who you are, Joey? Who are
oh
you?
yes,
Tell them who you
yes,
are.
my name is Joey Goon. I am a goon from St. Louis. I work with a company called Utopia Experience. We produce awesome events. Love my team. Shout out to Sheldon in the background, who's pressing all the buttons. And he's in the producer studio, if you will, in the green room. And thank you, Sheldon, for making all this happen. It's super cool. Couldn't do it without the team. Absolutely love our team. We produce events from as far west as San Diego, all the way east. We'll be in, shout out to my friends, Early Learning Leaders. We're going to Boston in a couple weeks. And next week, we'll be in West Palm Beach producing an event for the Unlimited Foundation. Shout out to our friends there. So super cool. Absolutely love producing events, and excited to deliver hopefully value for those that are tuning in today.
And it's kind of cute. There's a little bit of family history with you and your events.
Yeah. Yeah. My mama started it in 2002. She's unfortunately no longer with us, but I get to carry on her legacy every single day with my dad and now my wife, and hopefully eventually our 16-month-old daughter. So yeah, it really is a family legacy of sorts. And we bring in our dog Chase. We bring our daughter in on Tuesdays every once in a while. So it's like this very familial atmosphere, and we treat each other like family. We respect each other like family. I guess I have to be careful when I'm saying that because it depends on the family that you come from. Right? Some
It's
families don't
true.
really get along in the same way, but
Oh,
in any
that's
case,
true.
we treat
Yeah,
each other
I
like we
can
love each
see
other.
that.
AJ, how about you, my friend?
Oh, I started Queen Bee fundraising in 2015. I've actually been a nonprofit event planner and had my own business based in Los Angeles since 1999, when the dinosaurs were roaming the earth, as I like to say, before there was online platforms, when we had paper and pencil and just little old Excel spreadsheets. But I started Queen Bee Fundraising because I was a very expensive event planner, and I felt that nonprofits of all sizes should have the opportunity that they too can get the benefit of good protocols and resources and strategies without having to break the bank. So that's what Queen Bee does.
And I love so you started in 2015, right?
Right
Queen
around
Bee.
then, yeah, that's when Queen Bee started.
And I love that you talk about the art and science of event planning. And I think that's a great jumping off point because it's a perfect segue into today's discussion, which is the topic around events that drive change. And as event planners and people that are producing events, wherever you are out there, whether you're on the nonprofit side, the private side, the corporate side, it's absolutely crucial for us. And I'm including us in this conversation, AJ, because it's not an us versus them. It's like all of us together harmoniously working as one community. We have to understand the importance of psychological safety and bringing people together and how the brain works. And that's why I get nervous when I do these LinkedIn lives or when I'm doing a podcast, because you can't engage with the audience. You can't see, touch, feel, communicate. There's not that two-way authentic dialogue. And so that's what we really need to bring into our event experiences if we want to bring the communities online. And would love to hear anything that you want to share around psychological safety and neuroscience, because if we don't fundamentally, foundationally understand that, then our communities will never fully come online.
That's true. And it's funny, I've spent so many years giving webinars, so I talk to myself a lot. And I assume that absolutely no one's listening, and then I'll just go to a cocktail party and somebody says, "Oh, you're AJ Steinberg of Queen Bee. I'm a big fan." And I'm thinking, how could you even know me? I'm sitting there talking to my computer. But what you say is interesting because you say something different than I do. And I'm fascinated by what you have to say. When you say the psychological safety, is that what you said, the safety, the personal safety?
Yeah,
That's an
exactly.
important thing for people. I come from a different side, and it's going to be interesting for both of us to talk about this. My entire engagement strategy is community building, connectiveness, and building relationships, stewardship. So there's many elements. It's the art and science for me because it's neuropsychology. We have the Maslow's pyramid of wants and needs, and at the very bottom is we need food and shelter, and at the very top it's like, hey, we have no cares in the world, let's do something good in the world. So if you want Maslow's, you can look it up, you can Google it. Is that what you're doing, is you're Googling, Joey? No, I'm just joking. So but
I'm familiar with the Maslow's hierarchy
you
of
are, I
needs.
know you have to when you
Absolutely.
talk
Yeah.
about neuropsychology. But so for events, I have to integrate what you said about personal safety and making them still face. I look at it as making them feel like they belong. People have a desire to belong to something bigger than themselves. So when you have an event and you're gathering 400 people, if it's a business event too, if you're gathering 1,000 people, or we were just talking about Icon, which is like 5,000 people, how do you make a large group of people feel that they as independent units are integral to the good of the group, and that together they create something bigger and stronger to do good in the world than just one individual? That is the overarching psychology of what I'm trying to approach. When you say safety, talk to me about how the personal safety plays into that, because it probably does.
Yeah, safety in that. I mean, there's so much overlap in what you've just shared, and then the psychological safety. And I think about how if you can just like close your eyes for a moment and imagine that you are by yourself and you're walking into this ballroom, this or cocktail hour with 500 strangers.
Hmm.
Immediately, what comes to mind? And for me, it's, where I'm asking some version of the following two questions. It's, am I safe? And thumbs up to that too. Yeah, heck yeah. I love these AI emojis. Am I safe? And do I belong? Can I can I
Mm,
genuinely be myself in this community and fit in? And if you don't know anyone, how do you know the answers to those questions? And so the
okay.
primal, the monkey brain, the lizard brain, the amygdala is online because that primal fight or flight is there. And if that part of the brain is not satisfied throughout the entire event experience, the emotional part of the brain, which is the limbic system, the neocortex or the prefrontal cortex. By the way, Sheldon, can you throw that graphic up if you don't mind? Uh, yeah. So that one right there, amazing. So yes, this is based on the triune model of the brain, which scientists, doctors, neuroscientists came together in the 70s, and it's evolved since then. But this is just sort of one map or way to sort of make sense of how the brain's divided into different parts and different areas. And so you've got the neo prefrontal cortex, you've got the limbic system, and then the reptilian brain, which is what we just talked about. And the reptilian brain, the amygdala, is the strongest part of the brain because it's been there for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and it's there to keep us alive. If we feel threatened, if we feel like we're not safe, we don't belong, we flee or we fight. And those are not the emotions that you want to bring
Okay, so
into your
where
event
is
community, right?
boredom? Where does boredom play into it?
That's a great question. It's probably lies somewhere on the spectrum.
Okay, so there is this. Now let's talk about the experience because this is really interesting about the brain. But Sheldon, I want to see Joey again. Can you put Joey back on? All right, that's so great. This is so funny. I've got to tell you, Joey, that is so interesting to me because I come from it from such a different place. And what you're saying all makes sense. Is that how do we massage the reptilian to make somebody immediately feel welcome? And my favorite book in the whole world is, I think it's called The Art of Entertaining by Priya Parker, or The Art of Engagement. It's Priya Parker. She's brilliant. And it's all about, The Art of Gathering. I'm sorry, I'm such a geek. It's called The Art of Gathering. Oh my God. Do you have that book? This book is my
It's on
Bible.
my shelf behind me.
Oh my God, it really is. Okay, then we really are two geeks of a pine.
Besties.
So what happened exactly. So what happens is not only do I study Priya Parker, I go to Disneyland, and I know that it sounds like I go on rides. I go to Disneyland on a regular basis and stand in line and watch the people, and I watch how they move them through the lines. I watch when there's long hot waits, how people are experienced, how the cast members interact with them. Because what it is, it doesn't matter if you're Disneyland or a gala or a conference, is the very first moment they step out of their car starts the experience of making them feel safe. As you say, I say, building community, which is the same thing, saying you belong and we are so glad you're here. I have scripts for all of my people at registration that say welcome, thank them for coming. When they first get there, thank them for coming. Board members are assigned people to greet and to introduce to other people, not just go, hey, good to see you. It's like, hey, this is Joey Goon, and he just, you know, is looking for a car, and you own a car dealership. You guys should talk. Putting people together so they don't have to work hard, that they immediately feel important enough that you took the time, that they
Yeah.
feel there's other people with similar affinities in the room with them. I start even at the valet having people greet them. And in Nordstrom's or any nice store, people will walk you. If you say, "Where is the women's department?" They'll walk you there. They'll walk you to the bathroom. Why? It's not because you're stupid and can't find the bathroom. It's because they're told that people feel important if you take the time to help them and pay attention to them. And those are the things people remember. Okay. So that's my
Mm.
diatribe about the building of community. So these silent auctions don't do anything to build community, do they? They're just a distraction. They're like the wholesale shopping spree. And most of what you do at your events does nothing to build affinity. That cocktail reception for an hour and a half is the most important way to succeed with an event, because if they're feeling happy and thought and moved in, and encompassed in that hour and a half, when they go in the ballroom, they already feel that reptilian brain that Joey
Connection.
talked about. They
Yeah.
feel connection. They already are opening their synapses to your messaging. They want to like you. They're not pissed off because the lines were too long. They couldn't get a drink. They were so busy on their phone bidding on mobile bidding that they couldn't get something, and they didn't bother to talk to people.
This is so
So
good.
this is the beginning of it. This is the
So
beginning of how brilliance happens.
AJ, we're using platforms now that are, if you enable it, there's AI technology built into these platforms. And so when people get on site, they're automatically registered and it sends them a text message like, yay, you're here. No need to stand in line. We know you're here.
Brilliant. Okay, but
So
now here's the human problem with that is I still have so many clients who say we need to give them their bid paddle when they walk in. You're going to have a drink. You're going to have maybe some appetizers. Where are you going to put the bid paddle? You're going to lose it anyway. I say put the bid paddles on the seats. You know where they're sitting. Put a stack of 10 on one seat and they can distribute them to each other. When they sit down, it speeds up registration. And then that AI thing works because they're not, when they come in, they don't have to get something. But I didn't know that about the AI. And in big corporations, I remember doing, because I've done some really large corporate events for AEG. When the president of AEG was approaching the building, they had somebody say, "Code red, approaching the building." So we knew someone was coming and we could greet them and get on our A game. What you're saying is, hey, one of your sponsors is coming. You know now, and you
Yep.
could probably check in and go find them, right?
And I love that you talked about, greeting people before they even enter the venue, like knowing that they're there, having someone that is earmarked for this group of people. Like you as the volunteer, board member, stakeholder, whomever you are, you have the responsibility of ensuring these 10 people feel loved on, seen, heard, and appreciated. That is so good, AJ. I love that. So that's how you're then creating that sense of community and belonging before people even walk into the space.
And you know what's amazing is when you tell the board, hey, you can't have a drink at the bar with your golf buddies the whole time. I always tell them you're the goodwill ambassador for this organization. Some of them at first are like a little grumbly or whatever, but the minute they start doing it, you'll see such a change in your board because instead of being disconnected and, hey, we're just there to fill seats, suddenly they feel an integral part of the stewardship process. And that makes them feel good, which in turn makes them feel way more engaged when you're planning the next event.
So true. And I think like the fastest way that you can not necessarily break trust, but make your event a little less awesome is by having people stand in lines. And for like as soon as you walk in the door, they're standing in lines, especially if they're segmented by like the letter of their last name. Do not do that, because then you've got someone who doesn't know that they're supposed to be in a particular line. They stand in line, they get to the front, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, your last name's over there. They have to stand in line again. And then you're asking them for a credit card, 2 immediate strikes. I love the quote. I don't know whose quote this is, but I've repurposed it. And it's, people expect you to ask them for money, and when you don't, they start to trust you.
Interesting. Probably true.
So in the first 5 minutes people arrive, don't ask them for a credit card.
Oh
Have that
no. Oh,
information already stored
well,
on your, if you're doing a
that's what they
fundraising event.
want to do, but you know, it's interesting. So I've seen the trajectory from the dinosaurs with no platforms to today with awesome AI. Nobody wanted at the beginning to give their credit card information, even when they arrived. No, we'll do it later, and what do you mean you're going to swipe my card? So now most people will give you a credit card beforehand if you do it right. Never just have a line for registration and let the line go. I always put my best person at the front of the line as a goodwill ambassador to greet people while they're waiting and say, "Oh, you look lovely tonight." And it's right over there. That's the shortest line. Let's get you over there. And so
Yes.
people have human beings. It's like when you get a chat bot, it means nothing compared to getting a live person when you need help and you want to be guided. So give them a person, and these are the people that are making such an impression on on your guests, on your conference goers, on your meeting goers. It's huge.
AJ, we should go into a little bit of like a rapid fire tactical of like, these are some of the things that you can do at your event. There's one came to mind immediately hearing you talk
Okay.
and just like sort of reflecting on what we've just shared. So this just came to mind. I don't know where it came from, but it dropped in. Don't be the one asking. If you're, for instance, if you are a nonprofit and you're a private school, I'm getting hyper specific for a moment. Take a kid and record a video and say, hey, mom, dad, don't you want to win the parking spot this year so you get VIP parking? Make sure you register for the event. Boom. Send that out to all of
Cute.
your prior
I
attendees.
love
Of course, they're
that.
going to put their credit cards in. So
Oh,
make the
that's a
ask,
great
but
suggestion.
have someone else make the ask for you, the recipients of your organization, the employees. If you're doing a large conference, make it, have a little fun competition with the employees to see who's going to register first, and where we're going. We just did an event on the West Coast where we had a lot of different celebrities in the room, and we had them record short cameos to incentivize attendance. So there's so many different things that you can do with content even before people get to the space. Whether you're a nonprofit, corporation, putting on a private event, there's so much you can do. So
I
those
love
things just came
that.
to mind. I don't know if you have anything else that you want to share in regard to
Oh, I have a
pre-event.
million things, and mine are more like true event planning, like, please don't do this type thing.
Yeah,
So part
you
of
should
it
go
is
through a couple of
okay.
those.
I will tell you this because this happened last year, and I'm doing this event again, and I have to sit down and have this conversation with the client. I am not a fan of having children just sing and dance for no reason on the stage at any event. I don't even care if, unless you are a children's dance center or a song school, I believe that the mission of your organization is forefront. This is the only time that you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on these events. Make it impactful for you. So having, because one of the, and this happens all the time, one of the board members has a daughter who's in a rock band. That doesn't mean that you need to have a rock band play in the middle of your stage program. It has nothing to do with you. Don't listen to them. It's wrong. But so it's a boys and girls club. It's a bunch of clubs here in where I live, and I've told them the first 2 years they did not have any children singing, which was such a relief to everybody in the audience. And I was told last year I didn't have a choice, that they were going to
Mm,
do 2 songs, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't have any choice. I had no choice." So I said, "Okay, well, let's do 1 song." I negotiated to 1, and they wouldn't let me interact with the kid to find out what song they're singing. So we show up at the event, and we're doing the sound check with this kid who had just learned to play guitar, and this is supposed to be this upbeat, "Hey, the Boys and Girls Club community building, look how awesome our kids are." And he was playing Green Day's Boulevard of Broken Dreams,
mm,
which is one of the most lonely, depressing, suicidal songs you could ever play. And I thought, there's no way I'm letting this child sing the song at the start of an event when everyone's going to be going, "Oh." So please do not. I ended up moving him to the very, very, very end, and we kind
that's
of
a good
closed
move.
the program. Yeah. But so
Really
don't do
unique.
that. Don't put 15 live auction items. Anybody who tells you you need 15 live auction items is lying. That's just because the auctioneer likes to talk. People get bored. Only 5% of your people at most are even bidding on auction items. It's amusing the first one or two. Then people get resentful because they have nothing to do with it and they're just watching rich people bid. And you won't make more money because people just lose interest in it. So don't have more than 5, if possible, auction items, live auction items. Silent, it's a whole other story. So your turn. You tell me something you hate.
Yeah, fair. I would rather tell you something that I love
Oh,
or
good.
just
Tell
offer
me.
an idea. So in regard to rapid fire, and perhaps we may have talked about a couple of these different ideas on the webinar that we were on a couple weeks ago, the panel. Um, in going back to the importance of creating an exceptional arrival experience, consider doing a red carpet. You know, like this setup in front of me is not that difficult to have your production company bring out to your event, right? A nice microphone, some nice lights, a couple lights behind you, an interview, someone interviewing on the red carpet, a good camera, and we're going to record the content from your red carpet and you're interviewing guests as they come in. And so something super cool, like we just did this on the West Coast with an event where we had all these different celebrities and we're like, what would you tell to one of your celebrity friends on why they might want to attend this event next year? You know, why are you here? You could be anywhere in the world. You were just producing Transformers. Now you're here, right? Like, so you're getting these different sound bites, and it not only is it going to help you promote future events, but it's going to give you content to where you can start to build rapport with these people after the event by sending them the sound bites and saying, "Hey, remember when you shared this thing? Just want to tell you we love you. Love building that relationship with you. What can we do to get you back next?" Right? Like, so you're planting those seeds by capturing information on this red carpet as people enter. They feel special, they feel important, really cool entry experience. And then boom, you hit them up in a month when they've forgotten about you and you're landing in their inbox or their text message and saying, "Hey, remember when you shared this thing on the red carpet? We just want to tell you we love you." So there's an
And
idea right there.
And right there, as you also hit on another of the sweet spots, is you need to have a post-event engagement strategy in place before your event. Have a schedule, just like you have your communication schedule for your regular communications. Have a schedule. I have a 3-part, and if anybody wants to email me at aj@queenbeefundraising.com, I have a 3-touch protocol for post-event engagement that's been super successful, and I do it with all of my clients. So it's just basically, and this will tell you all the things to do. So post-event engagement is just as important as what you do at the event, is how you do it. And I love that Joey said to make it personalized for them and to keep in touch. That's pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, the post-event engagement strategy, the importance of that can't be overstated. It's so,
That
so
is
important. Someone asked
true.
yesterday, I was on a webinar and someone's like, what's the best thing that you could do for post-event engagement? And I have this like this so many different thoughts flooding to me, but the most simple thing that you can do is find someone that you want to connect with, record a selfie video with that person. Like, I've been meaning to connect with you. I love that we're connecting. I love that your business does X, Y, and Z. I can't wait to hear more about it. I just wanted to record this quick selfie video, like capturing this moment because we're going to meet so many people. And I just want to be able to remember this conversation and love on you afterwards. Boom, 15 seconds, send it to the person a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, set up a coffee. Just a really simple way to capture that energy of the moment. And then you've got your follow-up strategy right on your device.
That's brilliant. I really, really like that. There's so many technological things that are available now that weren't before, but despite all the technology, you have to make sure it's going to work because I work in many places that the Wi-Fi just breaks down. So when they say, "Oh, you should test to make test to make sure the Wi-Fi is going to be working," that's a different thing when there's 4 laptops going than when there's
Yeah.
800 cell phones on mobile bidding. So technology is great until it's not. So always have backup plans. I always say that too. Always have paper. Don't know what's going to happen on this kind of thing.
So true. Also, another thing during event that is interesting, if you know, because we're talking about the tech in the room, do a survey. Do an in-event survey. Post-event surveys get less than 20% if you're lucky. Ask people put a QR code up on the LED wall or projectors or what have you, whatever video device you have in the space, and ask people a couple questions. How do you like to be thanked? I've got Gary Chapman's 5 Love Languages behind me because it's been absolutely essential. If I didn't have that book, I wouldn't be married for celebrating 4 years and been together with my wife for 10. We genuinely love each other. And part of that is because we know each other's love language. I know how she likes to be respected, loved on, and appreciated, and she knows the same for me. And so, like, how do your attendees want to be respected, loved on, thanked, and appreciated? Read that book, then ask them at your next event. So that's one thing you might consider asking. Ask them what their preferred method of communication is. Maybe that's a second question you ask during your in-event survey, so you
That's a
know how to
good
follow
one.
up with them afterwards. And then they'll put their phone number in and they're like, text me or send me a carrier pigeon or what have you. If they want you to show up to their house, might be a little weird, but if you want to do that, great. But find out what their preferred method of communication is. And then the third question, we just did this at an event a couple weeks ago. We asked them if they're first-time attendees or if they've been here before. And 60% of the room was there for the first time. So we had them stand up, we acknowledged them, and then we had all of the attendees who had been there more than once go and find someone new, high five them, hug them, tell them that you love them. We played some really fun connection music. It kind of sounded something like this. And everyone got up and went and found a friend. And so how do we
What
create
kind
those
of an
little
event
moments?
was that?
This was actually a hospital foundation event. This was for a local hospital in St. Louis. But like we're always thinking about like not just merely the technology and bringing it into the space, but how do we activate the neuroscience, the psychology, and really
Right.
be mindful of like those little ninja tricks that we could bring into the space, so people feel seen and heard, and they're a part of that bigger community.
And this is going to be the old school me is I don't let cell phone use in the ballroom. That's just
Fair. That's fair
how
enough.
I roll. But I love the idea of what you said because all you have to do is say, "How many of you are first timers here? Stand up." And I think that right there you could get that same kind of thing. Yeah, that's my thing. There's reasons for that, which is a whole other live discussion about
What
not
do you do?
allowing
Do you
cell
like
phones.
zap them? Because everyone's getting out their cell phones. You have like people with
They don't.
tasers.
Here's the deal. If
You tell them.
you have an event, no, don't have to tell them. If you've done your work during the cocktail reception and then you move in and have a really compelling, amazing rest of your event, meaning the dinner portion, the stage portion's broken into 2 portions. The first one is super short. It just says why they're there. Go eat because exit polls from all galas say that people felt that they're talked at too much at galas. They want more time to socialize. So then you go, welcome. Here's a little bit about our mission video, eat dinner, people eat. Then you start with probably the live auction because it's energizing. Then you move into the fund and need presentation, meaning move into a meaningful, speech or a video. You do the ask. If you're sequencing this right, people will not be on their phones. If people are on their phones, I say I've done something wrong. Now, I
Sure.
know somebody will pick up a phone, but my thing is if people are on their phones, or if they stand up to go get a drink outside, or if they're standing outside talking to their friends, I haven't done my job. That's how
I
I measure my
completely,
success.
wholeheartedly respect and agree with your opinion when it comes to the nonprofit side. It's a challenge on the corporate side because
Oh,
you've got
no, I
people that
agree.
are
If I'm in
working,
bus
they've got their emails
I
open.
totally get it.
So that in
A
that case, you have to stand there with a taser and zap them if
See,
they
and you're
decide to go
right,
do stuff.
because if you're in a corporate event where people already have a relationship with this business, you
It's
don't
more
have to
challenging.
like rivet them and tell the story. They know the story. They're on your team. You're
Yeah.
there to make them feel good about it. And people do feel good. I feel nervous when I was at 2 hour, this amazing 2 hour workshop yesterday, 2 hours. And I was getting itchy because the guy in front of me was checking his things. And I was like, I should check my emails, but I didn't. And I thought, how awful that I can't just be present for 2 hours. But, I ask that of my people, I guess.
On the corporate side, there's a really great organization that we've worked with before and that I was a member of for a number of years. I actually need to re-up my membership. It's called Exchange Approach. It's led by John Berghoff. And he's all about like David Cooperrider's. David Cooperrider is the founder, one of the pioneers of appreciative inquiry, and they bring in conscious capitalism. Raj Sisodia and his group, but it's all about facilitating meaningful connections. So they're doing exactly what we're talking about, but they're doing it by breaking people up into small groups and creating connection activities. And so one of the things that I saw them do so masterfully well in an event that I was a part of, we were at this summit. There were about 100, 150 of us. And they're like, hey, we're going to co-create the future of this organization together. Anyone who wants to work on marketing, go over there. Anyone who wants to work on the future events, go over there. Anyone who wants to work on PR, go right. So broke us up into pods and we actually worked together and we brought all of our brilliance, because everyone has so much diversity of perspective into small groups, and then we reported out. We broke up into smaller pods, and then we shared everything that we learned with the group together as a whole later on in the day. So if you want to keep people off their cell phones, instead of delivering, if you're doing a corporate event or a conference, instead of delivering 8 hours worth of content, realize that a lot of the wisdom comes from the other side of the stage. Get those
Hmm.
voices out there, let them work together, connect marketing and finance, connect ops and sales, create that space where everyone, there's synergistic supplemental energy. And like, then it's the whole 1 + 1 = 10 because you've got the voices in the room, and that's how you activate your audience, keep them off their email and off their phones because they're actually doing something that's really enjoyable.
I love that. I'm as had told you earlier that I'm doing a 8 hour workshop at Icon on about the future of fundraising events. So that's sort of in with this. But eight
Oh, that's
hours is
awesome.
a lot,
It
right?
is.
So
Yeah.
I had to build it so that, and I created this workbook. So as we go through the 7 sections that I've put together, that we're actually building an event. Each person, I'm having them build an imaginary event. So as we go through the sections, they can apply it, in real time to this pretend event, and then we'll share the event. So it gives them ownership of the information rather than it's just out there in the ether. But
That's so cool.
well, we'll see. It's a long time to talk to people.
Um, AJ, anything? When is Icon, by the way?
Oh, Icon is, I think, April 6th through 8th
Yeah,
in Toronto.
I knew
Get
it
your
was a time
passports
where
out.
we've got other stuff going on, or I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Next time you should be a speaker. You should apply to speak at Icon.
Absolutely, yeah, and we're hopefully. I'd love to produce Icon. Those talks, those conversations. By the way, this is me prospecting right now because I'm going to take this soundbite and send it to the organizers of AFP and let them know we've produced other AFP events and we're coming for global.
I think you should because they need help. They're always understaffed at Icon, it seems. I remember one of the people who was like the staff member at Global was the person who was like hooking my little microphone on. And I said, "You're so and so?" I said, "What are you doing putting my microphone on? Don't you have somebody to do it?" But that was when it was just when we were coming back from COVID. So that was Vegas. That was Vegas, baby. All right. So I think that we've really hit on a lot of things. That's a lot to talk about and a lot to digest. But I think it's pretty impressive that all these people are doing good in the world through their events.
Yeah. Anything else on your head or your heart that you want to share? Just kind of closing us out.
Everybody should get Priya Parker's the art and the art of what is it? The engagement? Is that what it's the art of
The art of gathering. The art of
gathering?
gathering.
That's what I don't know why I have a mental block, but that's a killer book. That's incredible.
Well, AJ, you're awesome. I very much enjoy learning with and from you. I love that we have different perspectives, that we can just glean insights and knowledge from each other based on prior experiences. Super cool. Would love to find ways for us to professionally collaborate on many events moving forward. You're a rock star. Appreciate your heart and just doing this thing with me and literally diving into the deep end, going live on LinkedIn. It's just spontaneously. And we're like, hey, let's just do it and wing it, and here we are.
I
It's
could
awesome.
not believe that you pulled it together so quickly. And look at you didn't even realize you were talking to a computer. After a while, you just like totally let go and it's like, woo, just doing it. So good for you. And hey, thank you. See everybody at Icon if you're going to be there and hope that Joey and I get to do this again soon.
Thank you. Yes, you're awesome. Thanks again for tuning in. If you watched, and if not, you can grab the on demand session. Hope this was valuable, and we'll see you on the next LinkedIn Live.